find a way.
So I was in the gym the other night watching your game, and I couldn't take my eyes off of you on the sideline, man. Like I could tell. Like I can just tell when people love a game and love what they're doing and love teaching, love coaching, and that was you. And then I started reading about you, and 40 years you've been coaching in this game. You've got a building named after you. All these incredible years of success in coaching, and you love the game. It seems like the very first time you coached it.
Yeah, I mean, I love basketball, but as the years have gone by, I love coaching more than basketball. If that makes sense. Wow. I mean, I love coaching. Basketball's great, but it's just basketball is a vehicle to get to build relationships with my players. And same thing with teaching. You know, we taught for 36 years, and 32 of those at East. And basketball's great, but the coaching is just coaching kids and trying to get young men to become better men, to learn the things that this great game teaches us.
Wow. If you go back to the beginning, did it start with a love of basketball?
Oh, yeah.
Of the game?
I grew up in Lexington, Kentucky.
Oh.
In the 1970s. And I mean, I knew in the seventh grade that I was going to be a basketball coach. And there's nothing else that I ever even thought about doing. I had a middle school coach who gave me unbelievable confidence and just believed in me. And so, you know, I fell in love with basketball. I would put on a coat and tie. At that time, you wore a coat and tie to coach in. And I'd roll up a little program, and I'd practice at home, you know, 7th, 8th grade, 9th grade. I'd do those things. And
so you wanted to grow up to be a coach more than a player.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, we all wanted to play at the University of Kentucky. Okay. We all wanted to play at the University of Kentucky. And then that moment comes that you know that you're not going to play at the University of Kentucky. Yeah. I mean, I got to go to Milligan College, and that's how we got here.
Gotcha.
Is went to Milligan College and played there for my first 3 years for a great man, Phil Worrell. It was
legend.
He is. I mean, and he. It just. I love that.
Wow, that middle school coach that you had early on sounds like that made a real impact on you.
Oh yeah, Jim Elam is his name, and he's a lawyer in Lexington. And how to describe it? I mean, he just made me feel like I could have the confidence. I had a great dad, but then there's somebody, you know, there's always somebody else that it was life changing. And he played it. He had played at Eastern Kentucky University, and he came to coach us. Coached us, and it was. He just made it fun. He just instilled confidence that I didn't have till then.
These people that you cross paths with, and they make these just life-changing impacts on your life.
That's right.
And I think for boys anyway, those are often coaches.
Yes. Oh, I believe that 100%.
It's just such a position of influence.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes as a coach like that, it's almost like more influence than we really should have.
Sure.
Like it's a powerful thing, right? And it can be used. It can be used for a lot of good and in some cases a lot of bad. And like this is a coach that interaction in middle school.
Yes.
Changes your whole life's direction.
It does.
So impressionable at that age anyway.
It
like
is.
Looking for
sure, 100%. Yeah. And I've had really good coaches. I've had tough coaches. My high school coach was tough.
Yeah.
I mean he was tough. But it made me a stronger person. And I went to Milligan College, and there were 17 freshmen. That fall semester. There were 2 of us on senior night. And I give credit to my high school coach for you know, instilling toughness in us. You know, sometimes it's a little bit too much, probably, but he gave me that perseverance and that we're never going to quit, and that's the only reason I made it at Milligan. Just wasn't because I was a great player or anything like that. Not at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
But every coach has something to give.
Yeah, they do, don't they? And
They
like
do.
they're all different.
Yes.
When you look at your own coaching, do you think you modeled it after any of those influences, or did you find your own unique?
I think as time's
voice?
gone on, I've found who I am.
Yeah.
I try to hold our guys to high standards. I mean, I really feel like no excuses, no excuses, no blaming others. And that's hard. I mean, it's hard to keep that up and try to be demanding, like my high school coach. And then my college coach, Phil Worrell, the first 3 years, it was more laid back. And I thought he was too easy. Okay. I mean, I did. I thought he was too easy. But then as I started coaching, I wanted to be more and more like him every day. Because he did things for kids. I mean, he did things for kids at Milligan College it's Milligan University now, but Milligan College then. He did things for guys that I had no idea what he was doing. I mean, he was helping guys get a degree that came from nothing. And he never gave up on them. And at times, because I growing in a program where if you messed up, you're out, and there's no, there were no second chances and stuff like that. But Coach, I mean, he loves his players. I mean, loves them.
Yeah.
And then in my senior year, I had a coach who was a good man and a good coach. But he's a Bobby Knight disciple. And that was during, that was 1982, 83. And it was one of the toughest years I've had in my life. I had knee surgery the year before. In my junior year, I had knee surgery at Christmas time. So I got back and I worked really hard to get back. And we had a new coach. And he's a great, he knew what he was doing. It was just, it was tough also. It was different than Coach Worrell. Ron Reed was his name. But I learned a lot from that also, a whole lot. I mean, and as frustrated as I got with him, he called me and said, they're looking for a basketball coach at Johnson County, and I gave him your name. And this is the year after I graduated. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, so once again, he's the one that helped. He helped me get started in getting a job. Yeah. Even though that I had frustrations at the same time, I learned a lot. I mean, I learned a lot about basketball, and then I also learned that he wanted his guys to do well also. And it's just like reaching out and saying, hey, they asked me and I gave them your name, so hopefully they'll call you. And
it makes me think like that the outsized influence that coaches have, just right. It's a unique thing in our culture that you would give this much power to a sports coach, right? Like it's crazy, but it also comes with like this responsibility, and you kind of feel like you have to be everything to everybody all the time. Yeah, that's a true statement. It's an impossible. It's an impossible ask.
Yes, it is,
and it changes it if you think about like, I have a particular influence on this person at this point in their life, but I'm not the only influence.
Right. Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes.
And like you're talking about 3 different coaches that you had and 3 different personalities, 3 different approaches. Yep. Gave you 3 different gifts, right?
Yes, for sure.
And then what's like in your own growth as a coach, you've had to find your own, like who you really are. And it's not just a replica of some role model.
Yes. Johnson County called and I went up there and interviewed in June, and it's for the JV job, and I didn't hear anything back. So, I just go on. Then in August, they called back, said, you come back for another interview. I said, sure. So I went there to interview, and at the end of the interview, they said, do you think you could be the varsity coach? I said, yeah, sure. Why not? and I had no idea. Yeah. I mean, I took the job. I mean, I got the job. I mean, obviously because there was nobody else. Okay. I was 23 years old. It wasn't me. Okay. School had already started. I mean, there's nobody else, but so when I got there, the athletic director and football coach was a guy named Jim Crowder. And let me tell you what, for my coaching, that guy influenced me as much as anybody, and how he treated people, and how I learned how to be organized, how to overcome. And the first year we won 4 games. I mean, you know, and we had a very young team, and we won 4 games. The next year we won 20. The next year 25. So I mean, it was a good buildup, but I learned so much. I mean, it was unbelievable. And Jim Crowder, the athletic director, football coach, was there every step with me and helping me. And you know, he came the same year. He grew up in Johns County, and he came back. He's a little bit older, and we had more success earlier than the football did. The football ended up having great success. Coach Crowder, I mean, just awesome. But ours went a little bit faster. And you know, I learned you treat people with great respect, and jealousy is. Coach was a much better coach than me. Okay, I mean, but we had a little more success earlier. And there was never a moment where I thought, well, the football coach can be upset that we're doing well and they're not doing as well. And I learned that from him. I learned how that in high school, everybody should be together. I mean, it shouldn't be a basketball program and a football program, baseball. All the coaches work together, and places where people work together, there's a much better, great chance of success. And it's much better for the kids. I mean, it's much better because when you try to get kids to specialize, you're cheating them.
Yeah,
I mean, you are. And you're being, and that's and again, our program is the most important. I mean, to us.
Yeah.
But my goodness, it when we start using kids for our own benefits, that's when we get in trouble. And so I learned that from Coach right from the beginning. And we had the new baseball coach come in named Darren Chaplin, who was one of the best coaches ever been around, and we just worked so well together.
Wow, I really want to hear more on your thoughts on specialization. But go in that moment, like I played sports my whole life. Like I was a typical kid. Like sports were my whole identity. Played in college, but then I feel like I learned more about the game and myself the first 2 years of coaching than I did the entire time of playing.
Yes.
And like you, I was thrown into a head coaching job when I was really young, like right out of graduate school. And you're still trying to figure out yourself, let alone 18-year-old boys.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because I had a kid turn 19 during the season. You know, I'm 23. Okay.
Yeah.
So just at this year, next year, I'm going to have coached a 60-year-old. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, so I mean, I'm 4 years older than this guy. Okay. It's it's overwhelming. But really, that rock in my coaching life was Jim Crowder.
Wow.
I mean, this is the rock.
Yeah.
And he's quiet. He is not that guy that has that outgoing charisma. I mean, he's just solid every single day. He's the same. And I just learned so much.
That support system that you're describing.
Oh, it is.
Man, like, I don't think people realize how lonely it can be being the head coach.
It is.
Because you just internalize all of this responsibility.
Everything.
Pressure.
Yes. The pressure that we put on ourselves is ridiculous. I can't imagine some of what these college coaches go through. Yeah. I mean, having to recruit kids and then coach them. Yeah. When of course you've been a college coach. You know, we decided once we started high school, because I wanted to be a college coach. I mean, those are my thoughts. I was going to start as GA and I was going to be a college coach. I mean, once we got in with the high school, we love dealing with the high school kids, and then throw recruiting, what you have to do in recruiting, to the time and what that does would be. So we said we're high school people.
I think high school coaches have, like, all coaches have an impact, but man, I don't know that anyone in society has a larger impact on a kid's life than a high school coach because it's so raw.
It is.
It's the game and the kids. It's not NCAA regulations and compliance officers and recruiting and money and donors. It's just raw. Like it's you and the kid.
It is.
You know, and
there's nothing like, I mean, in the same way of teaching in high school, you know, when you close your door, because I taught American history for many years, and then I taught wellness. When I became ADs at East, and I started teaching wellness, and actually became one of the most favorite things I ever did, because you close the door, it's you and the kids.
Yeah.
And you know, it's that time that it's uninterrupted, and you really get to, you really teach. Teaching is that's what coaching is teaching. And the practice time, you know, practice, and when you go away at camp and different things like that, those are the most fun times. You know, Tuesdays and Fridays are the hardest days.
Mm.
I mean, it's you know, the game is the hardest part. And it's terrible. I mean, it's terrible to feel this way, but you feel like you're putting your life out there on that court. Of course, you know, for everybody to see, and everybody to judge, and there's no hiding.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, there's
immediate feedback.
It is, it is, and you just, that's the hardest. That's the hardest part to me. I still, you know, love practicing. You know, things have changed now. I guess we'll talk about that. I mean, things have changed, but Coach Crowder, I mean, he great influence. Now, you know, at that time, as you say, how did I evolve to myself? Because I'm sure I was a combination of my high school and college coaches. And then at that time, you know, Bobby Knight was the guy, and you learn a lot from him, but didn't want to be like him. I mean, in a lot of ways. Yeah. But in a lot of ways, his loyalty, his love for his players, the ones that stick it out. I mean, his players love him. I mean, because he would he would help them. I mean, their whole life.
Sure.
But and then Coach K, we'd go all the clinics and all those things. But then you realize that, who am I? I mean, that's what's most important. I can't be anybody else. I got to be who I am. And I try to, you know, to live every day with enthusiasm, with energy, and try to bring out the best in the guys every day.
All of that is like, it goes so many different directions with this. As you started, what did you start learning about yourself that surprised you as you go on this coaching journey?
I think maybe getting up to speak.
Yeah, it wasn't natural.
No, you know, getting up and speaking was something that get in front of a crowd or anything like that, and that's evolved. That's kind of surprised me of myself when I've learned about myself, is that, you know, I can do that. Yeah, I've been given the ability to speak and to give, you know, to give a message.
Yeah,
but at first, oh my gosh, and I realized how much a coach has to do and has to get in front of people. It's not easy.
I could tell watching you on the sideline that you are a born teacher. Like, you can just tell people.
Well, my dad's a teacher. My dad taught. He was a college professor, and so
when you've got that teacher gene, you can't ever leave it, right?
Yes, that's right. That's right.
It's just a part of you, whether you like it or not.
The moments when the kids get it, I mean, there's nothing like it. I mean, there is nothing.
Yeah.
Like when the kids come together, and win or lose, draw. I mean, it's not just based on if you win the game. Through the years, especially the latter years, some of my most frustration games we've won and we've played poorly. I mean, just because we were better. I mean, so what if you win a game because you're better?
Yeah.
It's rising above.
Yeah.
You know, like we talked about Friday night, we played Tennessee High. We had a couple starters out, and they have a great team. I was so proud of our guys. I felt like we competed. I felt like we really competed. I felt like we really grew as a team.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we lost, and we hate to lose, and I know moral victories, all that stuff. People that, but there are moral victories. I mean, I mean, when you have a group of kids that come together, and the only thing that's important is how we do as a team, and they sacrifice themselves for the team, there's nothing like it. And then when you get a team that does that for a whole season, there's nothing like it.
Well, you talked about like the high bar, that was an important thing for you. It's holding that bar high.
Right.
And I was having this conversation yesterday, actually, with one of your former players that works with me, and I said, I think every teacher and coach consciously has to choose where they're going to teach. Are you going to teach to the middle of the team? Or are you going to teach to the top of the team?
That's a good thought.
And pull people along.
Right.
It's a conscious decision.
Yeah.
Right?
It is.
And teaching to the top is hard. Like
it is.
Constantly holding a little bit higher than they are right now.
Yes. And we're going through that now. I mean, there's more. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there's more. I feel like the last few years I've had a little more frustrated. I get frustrated a little bit easy, a little too easy right now, because I know there's more. I know that, with the experience that I have, I know when kids act a certain way, I know where that's headed. I mean, I know that when they make this decision, I know where they're headed to. I've seen this story over and over, and it frustrates me. And I think it's gotten different in coaching, in that, how do I say this? We almost have to earn our respect more. I mean, that word coach, man, when they call you coach, the John Wooden book, they call me coach. I mean, that's a Bible for a basketball coach to read. And but now it seems like there's, you gotta earn it a little bit more. Maybe you have to explain why a little bit more. Like we had the kid get the technical foul there on Friday night, and I was upset with him. We went, that doesn't do us any good. And of course he has a wall between us, because I guess sometimes kids think you're personally attacking them when you're coaching them.
You think that's new?
Yes, I mean, more so. I really do. But we had a great moment Monday. And I talked to him. I shared a story about a team that we had, great team, when we had a technical foul that hurt us. I mean, going down there, I mean, it hurt us. And I said, you don't want to be that guy. And for the first time, I felt that wall kind of bust through that wall between him and me, of me coaching him and him getting it. It's like, and he's like, I could tell, he's like, yeah, no, I don't want to be that. So it's almost like, for me, this past 2 or 3 days, even more, I've learned I've got to do that with everything. Everything we do, I need to explain better of why we want to be this way, or why I think we should be this way. I've just gotten, that has just, like I said, coached 40 years, I learn every day.
Yeah.
I learn I know less. Less than, there's more to learn.
Well, culture is constantly evolving.
It is.
Right?
That is a big difference. They talk about parents. Parents always been parents with coaches. I mean, it's tough. We're parents, right? I mean, our kid's the most important thing in the world. I mean, the most important thing in the world is our child. And you have you have a team of 15 varsity players, and you have 12 JV players, 11 freshmen. I mean, there's 33 sets of parents that their kid is the most important thing, and that's all they're watching. Now, I get it. Becoming a parent was a great thing and helped me as a coach. That doesn't make it right. Yeah. Okay. But I definitely understand why parents. So that's always been. But I do think the kids with the social media. That is the biggest difference to me. Is and even more so, like I said about this one, is I need to do better of explaining why, instead of just, well, this is the way we've always done it, and we've been successful. We do it this way, so why wouldn't we want to do it this way?
I'm curious to hear what you think about, like, that change in what about our culture and social media, what it's changed on the basketball court. But I've thought a lot about this because I think it has changed. Like coaching has changed.
Keeping their focus.
Attention spans. Yeah, they have to be entertained.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Because man, when I was a kid, I never went to basketball practice in middle school to be entertained.
No.
I never thought it was that was not the coach's job, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
So that, and I haven't solved it. I mean, I'm even close to solving that. There is a little bit of a generation gap right now.
Yeah.
For me, I'm trying like crazy. And I have a gift to give to the guys, and we're doing well.
Mm-hmm.
But there's more.
Yeah, you're never satisfied.
No, there's more. Our relationships have to be better. You know, this is a retirement job for me. I mean, I'm not teaching. I'm not doing athletic director stuff anymore. I'm just coaching basketball, and it's good. But at the same time, you know, I'm not in the building with them. I don't see them as much. I don't teach them in class. So I haven't built quite that relationship. Maybe that I need to dive in a little bit more. Those are just things I'm thinking about with our group right now.
And how you form those relationships with kids in today's world versus in 1984.
Yes, in 2015.
Yeah.
Because really, you know, 2010 to 2015, it was still relatively new.
Yeah.
And we were kind of learning. You know, I wasn't quite on the outside. Now, you know, it's like, I mean, they got this phone. I mean, they don't know any different.
Yeah.
I mean, they really don't. I mean, you know, they get the stuff in their ears. I mean, they have to take this. When I'm talking, when we're in practice, I mean, when we're meeting, I mean, they take that stuff out. Even though they say, "What? I turned it off." Well, you know, I don't know if you turned it off or not, but it's just a matter of respect that you take it out and we turn those things off. And
part of that high standard.
It is. And you know, then you think sometimes, well, too tough on them.
You 40 years in, you're constantly questioning yourself every day.
There is no, and I'll tell you this. The more I coach, the fewer bad coaches there are. You know, when we're young, you know, and I'm sitting in that freshman, sophomore, sitting Milligan bench, and I'm thinking, Coach, man, you need to do this, you need to do that, and then I start coaching, and you know, you look at Coach, well, if that was my team, this is what I would do. Well, no, who knows what you would do, because you don't know until you're in that situation. I tell people that all the time. When, you know, they'll say something about a coach, and I say, we have no idea what that coach is going through.
No.
Nothing.
No.
I mean, come on. You can't say if that was my team, this is what I'd do. You can't do it.
It's so much more complicated in the moment.
Yes.
It's not. It's for a fan, it might just be about the score.
Oh,
you've got relationships with 15 kids on the bench, and you're managing.
Yes.
You care about every one of them, and you care about the team.
The hardest part, this is what will drive me out for good, is cutting kids.
Yeah.
And then playing time for the kid.
Yeah.
And I've grown, you know, for 40 years, you had to have tough skin with parents. And I mean, you just have to not, you have to realize that they can say what they want to. But you know, it doesn't matter. But what kids and a kid not playing, but working hard every day. See, I know in the end, and the reward is going to be great for those. Probably the kids that don't get to glory, but work hard, maybe not play a whole lot, but still persevere and work hard and have great attitudes. Teams. That's the kids that probably get the most out of high school athletics. I mean, it is, and so I know the rewards later, but they don't understand that, and they hurt. And I hurt for kids that don't play. It kills me. So you know, and cutting a kid, and then having a kid and not playing them. Because you can't play too. I mean, you know, in a game of high school basketball, 32 minutes. I mean,
it's short, man.
I mean, you know, it's hard to play more than 8 kids.
Yeah.
I mean, even we like to play up tempo and play fast, but it's hard. But my heart breaks for those kids. But I also know that if they don't quit and they keep persevering, oh my gosh, this is going to be a great experience for them.
Yeah,
and they'll look back and feel good about it, and they'll be better people. But that's That's the hardest part. And, I know it's hard for parents. I know it's hard for to understand that they are getting a lot out of this, whether they play or not. And sometimes parents worry, we all play the comparison game, and we all worry about what people think.
I think it goes to the fundamental question of what is the purpose of all this?
Exactly.
Right?
It is.
Like, what is the purpose of what we're doing as coaches? And I think when you're a parent, that purpose might be one thing.
Yes.
But when you've been doing this for 30, 40 years, it changes, right?
It does. It does. I mean, we've had great teams. We've had teams that aren't so good, but I feel like we've given our all in every year. Have we failed at times? Have we not been as good as what we could be? Probably. But I feel like we prepare. We love the kids, and I tell the kids all the time, I love you. I love you unconditionally. Now, I might not love the way you act.
Yeah.
I don't like that attitude that you got right now. I don't, we didn't play well, but that doesn't mean, we played poorly at Elizabeth on Tuesday night. And after being co-champions at the Food City Classic at East on Saturday, we're pretty excited about that because, it's exciting to win a championship and win 4 games in a week and then come back and we go eat together and then Tuesday we lay an egg. But it is. I say, I love you the same. I mean, I love you. That doesn't mean that I'm not upset to how we played. More so how the attitude was which led to not playing as well.
Yeah.
So, the purpose has to be that you're trying to make young men better people. I tell people this a lot. And I tell kids when they make their own choices and they put the coach on a terrible position.
Yeah.
Because who gets judged the most?
Yeah.
Not the kid. Yeah. Okay. The coach is going to be judged on what he does or what she does. Kid gets in trouble if you kick him off the team. Well, he doesn't care about the kid.
Yeah. Yep.
If you keep him, well, he just wants to win.
Yeah.
So you can't win.
Yeah.
So you try to make a decision that's best for the kid and best for the entire program.
You just, in those situations, you just turn off the external perceptions and you just try to do the right thing.
That's right. You try.
Yeah.
Like crazy.
But then you question yourself.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And then you see, see the kid and the kid struggles.
Yeah.
You think, well, if we'd kept him, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. But it goes back to that.
But then sometimes you keep kids and you enable them also.
Yeah.
I've done that. Where you feel like, well, I'm the only hope that he has. And then they continue to go down the wrong road and it's just hard. I mean,
there's no manual for that.
No, there's not.
Every situation is different, right?
It is. Every situation.
But that's the art. That's the art of it.
Yeah, it's juggling.
And nobody sees that. You don't see that on the court.
And we get judged by winning and losing. I mean, don't kid yourself. I know that. And we've been both. I mean, we've done both. But some of my best years ever have been years where I know we got the most out of our guys. I mean, we might not have had a great winning season, but I know that our team tried to get to their ceiling and had great attitudes more than a couple of teams that we've won lots of games, but every day's a fight. Every day's every day there's something, the phone's going to ring and the teacher's going to say, well, he's done this or done that.
Yep. They're always 16.
That's right. They are. And, I wrote this in my journal the other day. They're just boys trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, they are. I mean,
they are.
They're boys, young men trying to figure it out with lots of things, lots of bullets coming at them every day of what type of person they want to be. Yeah. So if we can help in any way, just planting seeds.
Yeah.
And that's where it's at. And I feel for young coaches because it's tougher than what what they know, and so we have a lot of coaches that leave way early, and they leave way early before the real rewards. Because the real rewards when they come back, and they hug you and they tell you they love you and they appreciate you. So my heart now is as much for coaches as for anything. And I'm trying to, we did a clinic last year. And this is something that it's kind of neat that we're here today because it's kind of cool to talk about this. The clinic was called Storing Up Victories in Heaven. And I'd like to, my goal here is when I am done coaching, I want to help coaches. And like I became AD at East. That's what my whole goal was. My goal was to help the coaches. And we need, it's based on Matthew 6:20, storing up treasures in heaven. And we need to teach these young guys, young ladies who are coaches that the best is yet to come. It's fun to cut down a net. All right. And we have a tradition. We drink it doctor enough after. I mean, those are fun times. Yeah. But the real fun times when you go to the wedding. Yeah. When you're there, when their kids are born, and when they come back to games, when they come to practice, and they say and they say, well, you helped me. That's and I'm at the point now where every so often, every week or so, I get something. I mean, some type of text, note, call. Yeah. Coach just thinking about you. Yeah. That's the victory. Yeah. So in my next stop, somehow I want to help coaches. And maybe start an organization, storing up victories in heaven, to where we get where coaches can be united and help each other, because only coaches that understand. Yeah, and I said it before. It's lonely out there. It is lonely, and the wins are kind of sugar highs. They are. We obsess over. They are. I mean, you got to think about the next one. We won a game last night. We played okay. I mean, it wasn't great. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, it was. We lost on Friday night, but I felt better Friday night going home than I did last night. I mean, we were okay. We won. Yeah. But did we get better? Now, Friday night we got better. We grew. Last night was okay. Yeah. But because you're only, if it's just winning, which is important, because kids don't. If you don't win, kids aren't going to listen to you. I think that may be a change too over the years. The authority of the role isn't enough. Like, you have to almost prove 1984. I mean, those kids loved me. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. Okay, I mean, we had success. Yeah. But even the 4-win season, the guys. I mean, we had a good dynamic. I mean, we went on and got better, but because I was a coach. Yeah. Yeah. And now it's Yes. And you can learn anything on the internet, right? You have just enough knowledge to think you know anything. And kids, they listen to all those sound bites. Okay, it's a sound bite world, and so it's harder in that regard, and they don't. I mean, if you don't win, you don't have as much. It's harder. It's hard to get that credibility. Yeah, crazy. It is. Yeah, but that's what I want to share. I want to help young coaches. I want them to be able to get on the phone with each other. I've had great friends, coaches. I mean, great friends that we have competed hard against each other, but then we can call each other and help each other. Sounds like coaches are like everybody else. We're just more isolated in today's culture than we were 20 years ago. Yeah. Disconnected, lonely. It's hard to, and who you going to trust?
Yeah, because everybody, that's the other
I
problem.
mean, I have a friend who's a coach at a great school, and I mean, he won unbelievably, but it was a high pressure job
Yeah.
that there are people always out to get him. And I mean, his success.
Like,
I mean, he won and lost, and so he developed a real wall.
Yeah, can't let your guard down.
You can't. Who you trust,
right?
You know, we tell the parents we don't go out and mingle when we lose.
Yeah,
and we don't go out and mingle when we win.
Yeah,
because
right.
I mean, it's all the relationship is with the kids.
Yeah. Do you think today's kids have a tougher time with persevering?
Yes.
Than in 1984?
Yes, there's no doubt in my mind.
What do you think? What do you think's behind that?
Honestly,
yeah,
entitlement.
Yeah,
I think the biggest change, maybe one of the biggest changes, is entitlement.
Yeah,
and it's just not okay. That's been the hardest thing for me.
Yeah,
is coaching somebody that has a little bit of entitlement. Yep. We can take kids, and it's easy to put our arm around kids. It's easy to put our arm around kids who have tough times, tough home lives. I mean, it's like, that's. But kids that kind of give the entitlement, that little bit of arrogance, it's a little bit harder.
Yeah.
To understand that. But it's not their fault. It's not the kid's fault that doesn't have any, that's grown up in a tough family. We don't blame them for that, do we?
Right.
Well, the kids that kind of have that entitlement, I know this is stepping on toes but I mean, our kids, there's more entitled kids, and that's hard. That's hard to relate to.
Yeah,
it's hard to like.
Yeah, yeah,
but it's not their fault. It's hard. That took a long time for me to understand, because if you've been taught, because we're taught entitlement, all right. I mean, I think we learned it. It's a learned behavior that we deserve this or we deserve that, and there should be stuff given to us.
Yeah,
I grew up in the little league years where the coach had the bats and the baseballs and the 2 or 3 helmets in his old Army duffel bag. I don't know if you picture that, but I mean, and so it was the delight that you were the guy that you got the duffel bag and you took it to the.
Oh yeah, like there's some responsibility to carry the gear.
You carry the gear. I mean, that was the gear for the whole team. We all had a glove. We didn't have anything else.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, you look at them. They play this travel ball and they got these uniforms with their names on their back, and they got these bat bags, and
got their name on their shoes.
Yeah, at East, I had a classroom, and baseball and softball players would just bring in and put their stuff. It was great, and stick carrying around all day. And this one young lady had 4 bats. She had 4 bats in her bag.
Yeah.
And we had 2 bats in that green duffel bag.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, how are we not teaching entitlement? I mean, 4. I said, what kind of bats? What you got? A home run bat, a singles bat, a doubles bat, and a triples bat? And she laughed. I mean, 4 bats, and they cost $300 each.
Yeah.
And so that is that entitlement. And that's hard. That's been hard for me to deal with.
Yeah.
Because but the kids have learned this, and so you're battling a lot, and that's what Coach Richardson always tells me. You're battling a lot of things. You just do you do the best you can. And I've told as AD, I told that to all my coaches. But then as a coach, you feel like I got to do more. I got to be better. But
you're right. Like the kids that have come from tough backgrounds and have had to scrap and fight for everything they have, like
your heart
but it's kind of. It's not a difficult thing, right? To help be an influence in that in that kid.
Yeah.
But the entitled kids, that's a different nut to crack.
It is.
What have you found to be effective? Like what is your role there?
That I'm planting seeds, and I'm telling the truth. I really try to tell the truth.
What does that look like?
It's hard.
Just
because because again, it goes back to the first story talking about earlier, talking about coaching. Sometimes they feel like it's a personal attack.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a personal attack. It's just I see how you can be better, and I want to help you get better. And I will say that entitlement is not just not rich kids. Maybe at first it started a little bit more, but really entitlement is. I've seen. I've felt like entitlement has reached all socioeconomics.
Wow. Yeah.
We deserve this, and I think that's unfair for kids to believe that life is not fair.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, for us, I feel like the ball should have gone in the hole. I feel like we deserved to win the game on Friday night. The ball should have gone in the hole.
Yeah.
It didn't. But you pick yourself up and you get ready.
Yeah.
And you get better. And you take a couple of the guys. A couple of the calls were tough calls down the stretch. And I hear them saying, "Well, no, we take responsibility. It wasn't the referee's call that beat us. Yeah, I didn't think it's a good call either. But that's we let number 5 have 3 open threes that we're not supposed to. So that's all on us. If we don't have those, it didn't come down to the last shot. If we don't turn over 11 times in the second half, and that's us. That's not the referees.
Yeah,
and so that I try to tell the truth. I mean, and that's the and they hear it from their friends and families. But it's somebody else's fault. Your teammates did this and that.
Yeah.
So it's just bringing all that together and trying to get kids to just be team.
Well, we've talked about like the unrealistic expectations that culture has on us as coaches. And I'm not so sure that the kids aren't feeling more and more of that with social media.
Oh,
and
yes.
Like the expectations for them, they're not realistic either.
Stress. And I've realized this is crazy too. Our team in the past 2 years has played poorly at home. Poorly. We go on the road. Our team, the last 2 years, our team we have won big games on the road. And we have played poorly at home. But I feel like it's their buddies in the stands, the student section. They get embarrassed easily when they miss a shot, when they think this is about basketball. You don't score. You score. You get scored. The whole team gets scored on, not the individual. I mean, it's everybody guarding.
Yeah,
and it's too easy to look. Well, that guy got scored on. Well, no. I mean, it was the whole team that let that. Yeah, one guy might have made a mistake, but usually the guy in the crowd, they don't know who really made the mistake.
Yeah,
and so our guys get embarrassed. It's hard for them to sell out, but on the road when there's no buddies.
Yeah. One of the frustrations of coaching is I feel like you often do a lot of this heavy lifting and then you send them home.
Oh yeah.
And the parents have as much influence as we as coaches have.
Oh yeah.
Parents have way more influence.
Yes. And they should. I mean, they're the parent, but
what
yes.
advice would you give? What advice would you give to parents? Because they're going through it for the first time.
I try
as well.
I try. We have parents meeting, and I really try to be honest. And this is the hardest job you'll ever have is being a parent.
Mm-hmm.
And probably being a parent of a teenage boy is just as. I mean, it's
up there.
It's up there. So, I really try to tell them that this is just a small part of their life. We're trying to help them. Don't make it more than what it. The results of what the team winning and losing, and your son. Whether he gets his, would it be nice if everybody scored 10 points a game, everybody played 27 minutes, and it's just not reality.
Yeah.
And I do tell them, I said, like we've already talked about that kids that struggle, and I had struggles in high school. I mean, I struggled because high school. I mean, it was tough.
Yeah.
But boy, looking back, I grew strength.
Sure. Yeah.
And now it's worth every second.
Yeah.
whether I was a star or wasn't. And to not get caught up in worrying about what other people think of you. I think parents think, well, if my kid's not the star, then I've done something wrong. And that's crazy. But I know that you go through, because you want the best for your kids. But sometimes parents try to live through their kids. I mean, and that's
natural too.
It is. And that's and that really hurts. That really hurts kids.
Man, I know there are scores of grown men that appreciate you being a part of that small part of their life. And you've made I mean, just talking to the one that I know is an outsized influence on a really short amount of time. But man, it's an important part of their lives. And
I'm a very blessed person. I mean, I am blessed beyond measure to be able to do what I've been able to do.
Yeah.
I retired from East High School in 2020, and I got real sick. I don't know if you know. I read that. Yeah, I got real sick. I went in for the arthroscope surgery on October 21st, night 2020, and I went home basically on December 23rd. I mean, I got staph infection in the knee, and they had to go back in, and then I had breathing problems. I had.
That's in the middle of the pandemic.
Middle of the pandemic. I had blood clots. I got pneumonia, and then I got COVID. And I didn't get on the ventilator, but I was probably as close to the ventilator as possible. So I am blessed to be alive. I went to a nursing home there in Elizabeth, and I had three angels, three therapy ants, because the family couldn't come. My heart breaks for these people that were there for the whole time. I mean, but I was there for 2 months, and went hospital and there for 2 months, and just from arthroscopics, and I had these three angels who were physical therapists. I mean, they're angels. Huh. Without them, and I learned, they were my coaches.
Yeah.
I get emotional because I was in bad shape. I mean, and it was tough. And my faith, everything was tested.
Wow.
And I got a note from a former player, a text, and I brought this with me. It's Romans 5:3-4. Suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance develops character, and character hope. And it reminded me of something I had said to people before who were going through tough times. I said, pray for stronger shoes instead of easier trails.
Oh, wow.
Because I was in the hospital. It was a Sunday night, and I was there at the nursing home. And it's a lonely place. It's a lonely place on the weekends. And, my angels weren't there. And somehow I'd read that, and then I was reminded of that. What? And because I'd prayed, I was praying every day, God, take this from me. Why is this happening to me? I mean, not much strength with perseverance was happening in that room. And I prayed that on Sunday night, and I said, God, I want stronger shoes. And, I woke up the next morning, and I still had the same problems. I mean, I couldn't hardly sleep because I had these bed sores. That's probably the worst thing ever. I mean, it was, and my problems didn't go away, but my faith got stronger. And that's when I realized I had three angels who were here to help me, and they were my coaches. And I learned as much about coaching from these three ladies. And I'm retired, and they loved me, and they pushed me. They said, "You can do this. Wow, you can do this." Just like my 6th grade, 7th grade basketball coach. You can do this. You can get up and. I was hurting. I was struggling. And I said, I want to go home by Christmas. And we had that goal, and December 23rd is the greatest day ever. I get emotional talking about it. So I got back, and I retired, and that's when it's like, and I went and watched the Patriots, and those were my guys out there, and my assistant coach, Dylan Favor, was the coach, and they included me in it. It was like, I missed it so much. And that's why I went to Westridge. Yeah. To start, the basketball program. And I tell these people all the time, I didn't leave East High School to go to West Ridge High School. I left retirement because God, there was more. I mean that moment, those 2 months. I mean, you talk about putting your faith in, that really the test.
Yeah, such a vulnerable point in life.
Yes, I can see where that COVID era and what it did to the people who were the most vulnerable, whose immune systems were and that's where I was. I mean, my blood pressure went low, and my oxygen. One nurse asked me, "How long have you smoked?" I've never smoked in my life. I mean, that's where I was. And then these, these angels, and God has given me a gift to coach.
Yeah.
And to try to help young people.
Yeah.
And so that's why I went back. And so I'm blessed. I don't know how much longer I'm going to do this. Because it takes everything you got.
Yeah. You talk about learning from all these different coaching influences you've had. How did those three coaches change the way you coach now?
Oh, well, the first day, Sandra, I mean, she got me up and I couldn't walk 10 steps. My blood pressure. And I sat there and I just met her and we sat there on the bed and I just lost it.
Yeah.
And she doesn't even know me. And she
doesn't know you have a building named after you.
she put her arm and she just gave me a hug and said it's gonna be okay. And then there's Hannah, who's tough and got to get this knee going. My knee was a board because I hadn't done the rehab because I was hurting. I mean, I was sick. She said you can do this. I mean, she pushed me.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Bodney, who was older, who was just that kind of mother. We're close to the same age, but I mean, she just had that motherly advice and love, and it just. And I went and I say, I hope I've done this with my boys over the 40 years I've done it, and I hope I've intentionally done more with these guys. Sometimes I think I have, sometimes not. We all get caught up with win and losing because the win you just fight that all the time. But that's where I'm at. That's why I'm here, and my next stop is going to be helping coaches somehow, some way.
Wow.
So, like I said, I am blessed beyond measure.
Yeah.
And I want to help others. And I've been given this for 40 years to help these young men.
Yeah.
And then these young coaches, I want to.
Well, I can't think of a more valuable thing to give back than to coaches who are facing the challenges that 10 years from now, it's not going to get any easier.
What's the landscape going to be?
But to learn from what you've learned and the experiences and the art that you've learned over 40 years,
because I've made a lot of mistakes.
We all have.
Yes. I mean, I'm not even close to being perfect. And
I remember kids that I feel like I treated the wrong way 15 years ago.
Yes.
You don't forget it. You didn't mean to treat them. You just made the wrong decision.
Exactly.
At the wrong time or the wrong timing. But it lives with you, man.
Does.
It doesn't go away.
It does not go away.
Yeah.
It does not go away.
Yeah. Well, man, it has been a pleasure.
Thank you for having
spending this time with you. And I could spend 3 days with you and still be learning at the end of day 3.
Learning
no
from
doubt.
I learn every day.
Well, it's been awesome. Thanks so much for being on.
And I appreciate it.
Yeah.